Have you ever stepped into a place so dark, so eerie, that every corner seemed to whisper secrets? A place where the air feels thick with the weight of something watching you? Tonight, you're about to experience it firsthand. What happens when the legends you thought were just stories turn out to be very real? Stay with me as we uncover the terrifying truth hidden in this abandoned house. But be warned, once you know the truth, there's no turning back. The wind howled outside as I entered the abandoned house. It had been empty for decades, but something about tonight felt different. The air was heavy, thick with an energy that made my skin crawl. The light above flickered, casting long shadows that moved across the walls, twisting into shapes that seemed almost alive. Every object in the room was covered in dust, untouched for years, but something felt wrong. It was as if something was watching, waiting. I had heard the stories, the old legends whispered in dark corners, stories of a house that had been cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who had vanished within its walls. But I never believed them. I dismissed it as superstition, as local myths meant to scare the children. But tonight, I wasn't so sure. I stepped further into the house, each footstep echoing in the empty space. The creaking of the floorboards seemed louder than ever, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone. The air grew colder, and with each breath, I could see my own breath clouding in front of me. Then I heard it, a soft creaking noise, followed by the distinct sound of footsteps from upstairs. But no one was supposed to be here. The house had been abandoned for years. I paused, straining to listen. The footsteps grew louder, coming closer. My heart began to race. I slowly turned toward the staircase, my breath shallow. Something wasn't right. I had to leave. But as I moved toward the door, a voice echoed through the room, low, whispering, "Leave now." The voice wasn't mine. It wasn't anyone I knew, but it was clear, as if someone was standing right next to me. The room grew colder. I turned, my eyes scanning the shadows, but there was no one, nothing, just the silence, and the air, which felt heavier by the second. I wanted to scream, but my throat tightened. My hands shook as I gripped the doorframe. The footsteps continued, growing louder, almost as if they were coming directly at me. The air thickened, the temperature dropping even further. The whispers returned, frantic, urging me to leave, to run. But my feet were glued to the floor, paralyzed by fear. "Get out," the voice hissed. "Now." Suddenly, the footsteps stopped. The room was still, but that only made the silence worse. I turned, and there it was standing in the doorway, a figure just beyond the threshold. I couldn't make out its features, but I could feel its presence, cold and oppressive. It didn't move. It just stood there, watching me. I felt the weight of its gaze, like a physical pressure on my chest. My heart raced. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. I could feel it getting closer. The figure didn't speak, it didn't need to. It was as though it had been waiting for me all along. The house wasn't empty. It was alive, with memories, with spirits. And I had disturbed them. The figure stepped forward, and the room seemed to close in on me. My body shook, my breath shallow and ragged. I wanted to scream, but the words wouldn't come. I was trapped, unable to escape. The figure was so close now, its presence suffocating. Then, in a voice that was not my own, the figure whispered, "You are part of the story now." And in that instant, I understood. The house had claimed me. The stories were true. The house wasn't just haunted, it was a trap. And now I was a part of it. There was no escape. I was part of the darkness that lingered in these walls. As the figure came closer, the room grew darker, colder, until I couldn't see anything at all. And in the pitch-black darkness, I knew this house had won. I was its prisoner now, forever.